You can hate the war, but you must honor the warrior. Very little is being asked of us and so much of them in a war where so much has gone wrong, where there has been so little accountability or recognition of flawed assumptions and decisions, and yet there has been so much individual, heroic, and even noble action in a war that began with a nation uneasy but largely united and is now deeply divided. Those of us far removed from harm's way owe the warriors and their families our service as citizens and as stewards of what they have volunteered to defend. What we have allowed to be devalued, what they defend, is our national political arena, which for too long has been in the hands of ideological zealots from the left to the right and back again, in the hands of hired gunslingers who conduct campaigns with the mantra, kill and kill again, in the hands of narrow special interests determined to advance only their selfish needs, whatever the cost to the common welfare, and money changers in the nation's capital who have determined that the political arena is a great bazaar where everything is for sale, including integrity. On November 7th, Americans began to say enough. There were three parties contesting that day: the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, and what I call the fed-up party. Guess which one won? The balance of power in Congress has shifted for the next 2 years. If those now picking out their new offices and trying out their chairman's gavels believe that they have a mandate to change the politics but not the tone of Washington, to worry first about their special interest and to do business as usual, to worry more about party theology than governing, they will alienate the message and the messenger, and they too will pay a high price in 2 years. In the greatest crises in American history, the American Revolution, the Civil War, and that combination of Great Depression and World War II, this country emerged stronger at the broken places because of the common will to advance common interest. At this place, Abraham Lincoln defined evermore the cost of liberty and the unending obligation of those who are the beneficiaries of these great sacrifices to honor, protect, and enrich the freedoms that we hold so dear. I have a special concern about the effect of all of this on a new generation of Americans, coming of age with the power of a transformational technology at their fingertips. I like to remind them at the turn of the last century, another generation of young Americans was empowered by the astonishing technical advances of that time: electricity, telephone, flight, the arrival of the automobile, and yet the 20th century was the deadliest in the history of mankind, with 2 world wars, Holocaust in Europe and Southeast Asia, the introduction of a nuclear age, new plagues even as the code of life was being cracked. We live in a world of unexpected consequences in which genocide and ancient hatreds are not eliminated with a delete button, in which climate change is not reversed by hitting backspace, in which answers to global poverty or global economic competition cannot be found on the toolbar under the heading of help. When I go around the world, the people who impress me the most are not those who live in presidential palaces, or have commands of great armies, or sell lots of records, or make people flock to movie theaters. The people I am impressed with most are the young Americans that I find living in cargo containers, recently in Pakistan, Kashmir, helping the villagers there put their lives back together after the devastating earthquake. Or a young American surgeon who was in Somalia, operating in a tent late at night on a child whose name he did not know, saving still another life, knowing that back home he had a mountain of medical school debt. But he said to me, if God gave me these talents, this is where I belong.